Mr. Skrilltown himself, in another episode of Welcome to Skrilltown Talk. So tonight, I've been wanting to interview one of my fam. Like when it comes to the business, people need to know the business. I've worked with this guy for about a little bit over a year. He's gave me some really good advice in the past. So this is a great opportunity for anybody that's tuned in that needs to know what's going on. This is a guy you need to know. He's on the West Coast. He's out of Las Vegas. So let me tell you a little bit about Devin Braham. Let me tell you about American Monster Guild. So Devin is originally from Las Vegas and no stranger to the bright lights and stars. He was born in '79. Mother and father had no idea what to do with an inquisitive little boy. Devin's father was a top level engineer and his mother was an educator. At an early age, Devin had a talent to storytell and love poetry. He began writing and creating music at 12 years old and never seemed to want to stop. Devin got a little bit in the music bug in a similar way, like how to genetic spider bit and morph Peter Parker to become Spider-Man. So he was really into it. Okay. So his writing and storytelling skills landed his work in the arms of some of the industry's most elite. Not knowing what to do with such a skillful and avid writer, his mother enrolled him in multiple writing classes, which further enhanced his ability to paint vivid pictures from a pen to a pad alone. Ghostwriting became an escape for the 5'8" skinny frame 16-year-old. And then it says by the age of 18, he had 25 musical credits under his belt. Since his introduction into ghostwriting, Devin has strengthened his writing portfolio by having his work be published on multiple sites, which include, but is not limited to, This Is 50, SODMG, Core Radio DJs, Hot 97, and many others. He was brought on board as the A&R for some of the country's best labels, which included, but are not limited to, the Indie Music Factory, In Grooves, Universal Music, the West Coast A&R. Underneath the direction of Knowledge Stevens, Jason Dixon, and many other top-level executives, Devin brought a lot of top-tier talent. After breaking away from Universal Music Group, he done his own PR for some hip-hop budding elites. Devin has been running his own successful music management company, American Monster Guild, helping others start their careers on the right path. We have today Devin Braham from American Monster Guild. What's going on, man?
What's going on? Thank you for that lengthy introduction, but that's all right.
Hey, man, that's what it's all about. Like I said, man, when I started back doing the music management and I got back on social media, one of the first people I seen that was doing this thing was you. You know what I'm saying? You out of the West Coast, man. Just tell us what's going on, man. Tell us about Devin, man. Tell us, outside of the bio, tell us what's really been going on with Devin.
Well, I don't know. I mean, last couple of years, I've decided, I've managed up to 10 artists at one time, 10 to 12 artists at one time. Never really had a bunch of help, bunch of staff. I just know how to multitask and stuff like that. So I kind of, I don't know. I'm just very passionate about the business part. Because I've been on the other side of it. I've been on the other side of the table. So the business part is kind of where I kind of live in, from the education part and
Right.
the marketing part, and I'm still learning. I'm still educating myself on a lot of different things. So I don't know. I'm just very passionate about the music business. Period. The integrations that are coming, the algorithms that are changing up. I always say that I'm always gonna have. I can do this as long as I want to.
Right.
I can do
Right.
this as long as I want to. Artists, on the other hand, cannot.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's so many different Snoops that can reinvent themselves 90,000 times. Nobody can do that. But no, Devin, really, I'm just passionate about what I do. I'm always on go. I guess that's the I guess that's the thing that can summarize me. I'm always on go. I don't quit. I may take a time out. do stuff with my son and
Hmm.
stuff like that. But I'm always
So what? Okay, so I know you were A&R for Universal
uh,
Music Group.
yeah.
What made you transition, or made you want to transition into a music manager, more of an artist manager?
Well, I was the person who found the talent. Like I found the talent. I, helped them develop them, get some social media tips and different things. And
Hmm.
so I saw like one of the ones that I found I found when I was with Indie Music Factory was
Hmm.
Carly Red.
Oh, okay,
Found her.
okay.
I found her. We were talking. We're going back and forth. And then I just brought it to the table, and then I saw how they shelved it. I kind of saw how
Yeah.
they shelved it. They didn't really know what to do with the talent after that, and I was kind of
Hmm.
like, but my name was on it. Like, so
Right.
my name is on. I'm thinking like, but after you bring them to the table and they sign it, your job is done, and you're on to the new project. So
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
else, like keep bringing us more, keep bringing the funnel. So I was like,
Hmm.
well, wait a minute, this ain't where I want to live at because I'm always going to be tied to that person,
Yeah. Yep.
whether they
Yep.
fail or whatever it is. So it's almost like baseball. Like you could be 0 for 20, like
Hmm.
you could be 0 for 20, or you could be 19-1. Like it just
Right.
doesn't. And so I just basically felt like, well, wait a minute, I'm not in control. I got my little commission check and everything else. I'm not in control of
Hmm.
my own destiny and my own artist or resume. And so I just felt like, I don't know, this ain't it.
Right.
This
Right.
ain't it. So I just took what I knew, and then I just, I don't know, I just took what I knew, and I started my own.
Right. Okay. Okay. So
So I
like
just,
you said.
yeah,
So like you said with the A&R, it's like what it kind of reminds me of is like a car salesman. You go
yeah,
out, you get the buy, and then once you get the buy, you're done with it. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
But if anybody has any problems, guess who they come to? They come back to
yeah,
you. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey man, you sold me this lemon, bro. Or hey man, what's up with the warranty? Or
yeah,
so it's like you're absolutely
exactly.
right. So in your time of becoming your own and being your own entrepreneur, like what struggles have you had thus far? With being an
Well,
entrepreneur.
man, I don't know. I always gotta speak on this. But I know other people in other states probably have a very similar um, roadmap. Very
Hmm.
similar because the struggles I have is in Vegas, right? Like Vegas is just that city where
Yeah.
everybody wants to come. Everybody, A&Rs want to come, label execs want to come, but well, they'll come and they want to sit down with you, but nobody
Hmm.
really wants to pick out talent from Vegas. It's very far and few between.
Mm.
And the struggles that I've had is getting others to kind of, I don't know, like of course I had trouble about budgets.
Hmm.
When I first started off, I had trouble about
Yeah.
budgets. How do I get a big budget? Like how do
Hmm.
and then I got a big budget and I was spending money on the wrong things, and I would take that L. Like so, I've had the struggles
Yeah.
of what everybody else has. Artists is like they don't know how to get a budget. They don't want to spend a budget because they don't know where to spend the budget is right and everything else. So I'm no trained stranger
Hmm.
to that. So being an entrepreneur is all about timing,
Hmm.
your budget, your finances, paperwork, paperwork. Last 2 3 years, I've dived more into paperwork and
Hmm.
getting licensing and getting my paperwork straight. So I don't ever have to search for an opportunity. It's just there. So from an
Yeah.
entrepreneur standpoint, um, I've done everything. Like I've kind of hit that. I've hit the wall. Had to hurdle walls.
Hmm.
I've had like I set up 10 artists, and I've had pretty much a whole roster rebuilds. I've had to, you get the artists who talk about you on social media. I've had to deal with that. I've
Yep.
had to
Yep.
deal with blogs and magazines. I've had to deal with people trying to rip you off, people
Hmm.
trying to steal your logo. Like I've helped deal with everything that any artist has to deal with. So,
Hmm.
entrepreneur is just a roller coaster. So,
Yeah. Absolutely, man. I know we couple times we didn't chopped it up on the phone, and I've asked asked you for advice, and then we kind of bump off each other with different ideas
Yeah.
and network and stuff like that. With the 10 artists, because when I first came back into it, I had like six artists that I was
Yeah.
managing. And I know I talked to a guy and he was like, man, you need to not like shut that down. He was
Yeah.
like, for real. He was like, so what's your advice on having several artists that you managing all at once? Is that I mean, I know it can go either way, but like, what would you prefer? Like,
I mean, I've changed the way I do things. I
hmm
know I used to think that more was better.
right.
You had like never go back Wu-Tang. They had 10 different personalities, and you could
Yeah.
just drop no limit. They had all these different type of talent. They were literally killing the game for a long time, and they were
hmm
just dropping every quarter and multiple releases.
Right,
It
right.
was just like insane. So I was like coming into it, I just got all these artists that came, and honestly, I wish. I mean, it was a good opportunity for me to learn.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Because I know what to do with 10 different personalities now. Like I know what to do with 10
Right.
different personalities. And sometimes you'll have an artist, they'll have like 10 different needs or 10 different things,
Yeah.
10 different wants and everything else. So really, I don't know, when you're growing, you need that experience. Like
Mhm.
I tell other managers, you need that experience to manage a bunch, so you know what to do with a few.
Mhm.
I mean, that's the
Yeah,
best thing I
yeah.
can say. If you don't manage a bunch of people, you don't know what failure looks like. Because if you fail with one artist, you can be
Right.
like, oh yeah, that was just in person. But if you fail with a lot of them, then you'll know what not to do, because everybody has different personalities, different music, different demographics and
Mhm.
stuff like that. Really, you got to go through the fire. You got to manage the 6 to 8 to 9 to 10 artists, and succeed
Mhm.
and fail, and know what you did right, know what you did wrong, in order to know what you can do right 100% of the time. Now I have like, I don't man like right now I have I got 3 artists now, three,
Absolutely. Yep.
and I have three, and I'm able to do a whole lot more. I'm able to hone in. I'm able to focus. Like with the campaign I got with the newest one, Sam's, I'm able to focus on what I need to do, while the
Mhm.
other artist, Pace Brown, is still doing this. And then I got another artist over here I got a radio platform, radio thing going on. So I'm
Mhm.
able to focus a little bit more, because now I
Mhm.
know. I mean, I know I've it's
You've experienced it. Yeah.
I experienced it. So while everything's going, I'm back. I'm back in the
Mhm.
lab. I'm constructing marketing plans of what I'm gonna do next in the next 2 quarters with that artist while this one's still going. So I'm able to kind of go on like pilot mode and stuff like that.
See, and knowing the business like you do, it makes it a lot easier for you to market an artist and for him or her to succeed.
Yeah.
So tell us about that marketing, and how important it is for these artists that are coming out and they have the potential and talent, but they don't have a clue in the world about marketing and promotion. How important is that?
Well, I mean, it's I don't know. Like I was listening. I watch a lot of podcasts too, and
Hmm.
I was listening to Nas came out. Nas had a podcast. He was on this podcast, and he was saying that every artist wants to just win now. They watch TV and they just want
Hmm.
to go. They just want to They want to have the money, want to have the cars, they want to have the women, they want to pop the bottles, they want to be on the blogs, they want to be on Hot
Hmm.
97, they want X double XL. So they want to have all the money now, but then
Hmm.
you miss the steps along the way. And
Right.
so I started out by saying that is to know, you got to know your marketing, you got to know where your demographic, you got to know your brand. A
Hmm.
lot of artists, and so you can't skip those steps. Like you can't
Hmm.
skip them. Like you gotta go through the times where you drop a release, and then you got like 10 people who stream it and this and this. You gotta go through it. Okay, they didn't like that one, drop another one, and you gotta go through those periods. But no one likes failure.
Right.
Like no
Right.
one
Right.
No one likes failure. Like no one likes failure. Like, okay, here it comes again, dropping this other one. Man, last one sucked. And no one likes to do that. Like no one likes to get slapped in the face. No one likes to fail. So you got to go through it. And so that's going to help most artists know what their marketing is and know what their marketing budget should be. Because if you go through it and your $500 that you put into a marketing and you didn't and you put $500 into it and you didn't really see the results that you needed to and everything else, and it only lasts and everything else, okay, was it my money or was it my demographic?
Right. Well, yeah.
Like, I mean, like you got a 50-50 shot. I mean, if all things considered, your paperwork is right and this and that, you targeted the right curators, you did this and this. So I teach artists, like, look, you got to go through this and you got to go through the fire, because I can't manage you. I can manage you through the failures. I can manage you through the failures, but it's your emotional stability and your professional work ethic that's going to carry you through. I can manage you through it. So, I mean, I always tell artists, man, you got to know your marketing. You got to spend the money. You got to. I'm spending money. Like, I was looking at my finances the other day. I was like, man, I'm spending a bunch of marketing money every single month.
Yeah,
I'm like, how do I? Okay, I need to do one or two things: spend less, get more, or bring in more money from all these other different entities.
Yeah.
So I'm just not, you don't want to be in a poor man's house. No one does. So even me, I mean, you said you got to spend the money. I mean, the long-winded answer is you got to spend the money. You got to do your research, and that's where it begins. Your first cut for your first few years.
So what about, okay, so that's a great point. So you get an artist, I'm gonna give you a scenario that is doing this thing out here, and now that things have changed, the way you promote, the way you do business, the way you bring out music, how important is it to educate the way technology is growing? Like, instead of, because let's say that I was your artist and we've been making money for years, you know what I'm saying? And now all of a sudden this streaming thing that came about and we was making money off CDs and, tapes and all this other stuff. Now the streaming thing coming. How important is it to educate your artists on how to innovate, and how to come up with the times and be, updated? How important is that?
Well, a good manager has foresight. You got foresight on what's coming. Like you got to look at not even on what's coming tomorrow. I don't even look. I don't care. Like we're about to hit June. I don't even care about June. June's already done for me. Like I look at what's happening 6 months from now.
Right.
What the industry's going to do six months from now. So a good manager has foresight enough. So I pass it along. My artists, I was like, hey, you need to do this. This is coming. You need to do this. You need to do this. So they're already ahead of things before they even drop.
Yeah.
Because from a contact and a network perspective, I know what Spotify is going to do. I know what Spotify is going to do 6 months from now.
See,
like, so a good manager is not just booking shows or my manager got me in this magazine. Like, who cares? Like, who cares? Because you can be on that magazine like right now. Like I've talked to people, pretty sure you know this. Talk to people. It's like, oh, well, I'm on this blog. Or I'm on this Spotify curator. I got this many streams. I'm thinking like, oh, okay, that's nice. I said, well, and I'll ask him something. I said, so who would you pay for this, this, and this? And they're all like, well, look, Spotify's coming out with the new artificial stream report. Yep. And they're going to be hitting it up with all the DSPs and stuff like that. And if you got a skip ratio that's above a certain percentage, you're going to now they're not paying you for those streams. Like they're not paying you for streams. And then people are like, what? And it's like, well, yeah. So your manager did all this stuff, fluffed you up, got you all this crazy stuff, but you really, it was just fluff numbers. So I don't know. I just think a manager should have foresight. It should be a better planner and a better organizer. The implementation, picking up a phone, getting anybody can get on XXL. It's not hard. Yeah, you just got enough money and everything else, have a good bio and all that stuff. So a good manager nowadays in 2021 has to have a lot of foresight, has to be a planner, organizer, has to be basically a nerd.
Yeah,
Like, you
yeah.
got to be a nerd. You got to be a student of the game and researching and studying. I spend a lot of my time in the house. Like, a lot of
Hmm.
my time. I don't even go out, So I just
And see,
think
that's another
managing.
thing. That's
Yeah,
another thing. I don't mean to cut you off. With
yeah,
managers, how back in the day they used to be all up in the clubs, all up in the. Now they sitting back. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
They doing stuff from home and letting the artists go out there, and do that.
yeah,
And I talked to somebody a while back, and I was like, your artists got to work just as hard as you, if not harder. I was like,
yeah,
you shouldn't be the face of the group. They should be the face of the group. You know what I'm saying? Manager supposed to be back there doing, pulling the strings from the inside.
yeah.
The puppet's supposed to be moving and you in the back pulling the strings, so yeah, it's a lot different now, man. It's a lot different,
Yeah,
bro.
I mean, I always say from an artist perspective, if you working harder, if I'm working harder for you than you're working for you, then I'm pulling the carriage.
Yeah.
I'm pulling this carriage, and you're just in the little box, like in those old Western movies with the little shade and everything else. So I'm doing
Hmm.
everything for you. What are you doing for you? You
Right.
can't say I'm just the artist because that doesn't fly anymore. It
Nope.
doesn't fly anymore, and everything else. You have to be out there, because if I'm back here and my artist he's out there, he's going to network and he's going to shows, he's going to meet this person, and he's taking all this information, he's bringing them back to me, like he's doing everything else. I'm having a funnel of information, of calls to keep on working and working and working and working
Yeah.
while you keep doing you, so the opportunities keep coming. Artists don't want to do that.
They
They
don't.
it's like they don't want to do that. They were like, oh well, I'm supposed now. I got a manager. I'm supposed to
Hmm.
be sitting back, and you're doing everything. No, it's a tandem thing. It's
Right.
dancing with the stars. Like, you are going out there, and I'm tap dancing. I'm tap dancing. I'm making phone calls. I don't really make a lot of phone calls. I make a lot of emails. Shoot off a lot of
Hmm.
emails and stuff like that. Like, I still talk to a bunch of like Def Jam A&Rs. Like, they'll come into
Right.
town. I'll get something on emails like, hey, let's have lunch, and this and this. I would do a lot of different things too. So being a manager is not what it used to be,
Hmm.
at all.
And see,
It's
that's why
it's yeah,
I try to tell somebody that, because I mean, you want to educate the ones that don't know. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like when I first came back in and I reached out to you. You've been
mm,
doing it. You stayed on it consistently. I just get back from a 15-year hiatus. I'm like, hey man, can you tell me something? You know what I'm saying? It's all about it's all about educating each other,
yeah,
man. Because it's enough money out here for all of us to eat. But
mhm,
it's just like you said, man. Times have changed, and we can't do things the way we used to do things. But just like these businesses, and these in the corporate world, they always looking for what's going on next, what's
yeah.
coming up. You know what I'm saying? And it has to be that way in music. So with that being said, a couple of months ago, well, more than a couple months ago, I noticed that you got some things going on with your distribution and your
Uh,
publishing. So tell us a little bit about the executive order.
well, executive order. American Monster Girl is always going to be the management. It's always going to be my baby. It's what I started with. It's
Hmm.
what I pushed for since 2014, when I first moved
Okay.
back to Vegas, and I kind of made it official. This is what I was going to live in.
Hmm.
So then, executive order, about a couple years ago, I decided I wanted something else. I
Right.
wanted a I wanted a birth child of American Monster. I wanted something else, because you
Hmm.
can't have a management company and a distribution company and a publishing company all in the same house. It doesn't work.
Right. Right.
It's
Right.
a conflict of interest in so many different ways once you
Hmm.
once you get down that road. So I started doing something, and I literally created executive order last year,
Mm.
and I
Okay.
I, I pumped that flyer for like a whole year straight. Like,
Hmm.
no
Yeah, I
lie.
remember
I
that. I
pumped
remember
it.
that.
I pumped it. People were just like, I pumped it, because if you know anything about the psychology of the mind, the visual acuity part is people see things 37 times before they make it a habit.
Right.
So a whole 365 days, I just showed you the logo and showed you the logo and showed you the logo, and showed you the
Mm.
logo. So then at halftime in this year, I said, okay, let me just finally put it out there, because I finally put it out, and I had to do all different. I tested the site. I did beta testing. I did all this type of legality type of stuff and made my LLC, the EIN, all that type of stuff came last. I just really tested to make sure that it could run off of Chrome, Internet Explorer, Internet Microsoft Edge. Like I tested just to make sure it can be that thing. And so I finally launched Executive Order, did distribution. What I did was I did a lot of research. What DistroKid was doing, I can do. What CD Baby was doing, we do that. Split royalty payments when you put your stuff in, we do that already. So I did it, and what I do, I integrated my marketing stuff, the stuff I do for copyrights. I integrated that into the distribution platform. So it's been growing, and it's not something like I'm not trying to grow 100 counts in a month.
Right.
Like it's just something that I put out there for. This is a marathon. It's not a race.
Yeah.
So I have ads going right now. Like everything's going. I have impressions. I look at it. I got people clicking around the website. I got people every couple of days. I look and I got 3 or 4 new accounts, and I'm like, oh, okay, all right. You know, and it's something to manage. I don't have to literally do anything, and that's why I built it. Like I don't have to cash you out to pay you out of your money. Wow. You got your own site, you got your own profile, user profile. So you go in, you see how much money you made off your release. You ready to get cashed out. You cash yourself out. It's done.
It's done.
I don't do anything. I give you ISRC codes. They're already loaded on there. I'm giving you UPC codes. They're already loaded on there. Like I don't have to do anything, but just the hard work is done. I just literally do it. Now if somebody has a problem with something and something, then I call Spotify. I'll call iTunes Direct.
Yeah.
And that's what the whole point of this thing is to cut out that garbage where artists are saying, oh, I'm going to DistroKid. DistroKid, United Masters is the best. Really? So if you had a problem with United Masters, if you got a problem, who do you call?
Right.
You got to hit a contact tab. You get a computer-generated email. 3 or 4 days go by. They answer you in an email. They're not calling you back.
Nope.
They're answering you in an email, and it's just that person-to-person connection. So I don't have any of that. Yeah, people know who owns it. My Facebook page is open. So all these people, and I'm going to keep it that way.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep it that way. And so they can call me. I can tell you, I mean, like, last time you ever picked up the phone and talked to the owner of CD Baby was when? You can't do it. You can't do it. So from that, I mean, Executive Order, I launched Executive Order Publishing through ASCAP publisher. So I was doing that, and I had some good opportunities submitting to Space Jam and stuff like that, and submitting to some movies and stuff like that. And I was like, okay. I started getting clients, and I've got a couple of clients right now, probably 2 or 3 of them who still want to do a sit down with their publishing, because a lot of people don't understand the publishing game. Yeah. And I will say I credit, and she's on Facebook, and you probably seen her too. I credit one person. Her name is Gigi Miller. Gigi Miller, I paid for the arts development program, and what she teaches was just a whole bunch of arts development that you don't do and that labels don't do anymore. And I really honed in on her publishing section. So I really started doing that, and I took that and I started digging a little bit deeper. Call ASCAP. Say, hey, I call them once a week. Just bug them, just ask question after question, and they tell you. They'll tell you. So they go, oh yeah, they told me this, and then I paid for music supervisor classes, and they told me how they pick tracks and how they go about the metadata and stuff and all that. How do they go about picks? They don't like look, and then ASCAP confirms it. It's like, hey, we don't pay artists ASCAP if they get for a movie. We don't pay them. We pay the publisher. Right. Because we only deal with you as the creator of the music. We deal with the publisher. So, and they only deal with verified publishers.
See,
again, got a network again. So
Yep.
now you got to network and you got to make sure your paperwork's right. They said because if we ask you if you got to fix this type of beat or fix this and this, I got to be able to have it done really quick.
Right.
And really quick. That's why I have my copyrights and everything is right too. So I create executive order publishing. That's going good. And then doing my digging, I was like, well, wait a minute. I can have 2 publishing accounts. One for BMI, one for ASCAP. So now I created not too long ago Jet Order Publishing.
Jet Order, yeah.
I just create Jet Order, and that's just for my BMI artists. So so I can service both ends of the spectrum.
See, man,
And those are my babies right now. And I mean, I just launched executive order web design, so I'm getting that up and running, where I can do artists their websites and stuff like that too. So I don't know. I just, like I said, I'm always looking for a way to innovate, and because artists are getting ripped off, and I get it, so I'm just like, hey, look, come over here. Like I'm gonna show you what I'm show you what I'm gonna do with your music before you even pay me a dime.
Right.
And this is what I'm gonna do. This is what you're gonna get from me. So it's been going good so far. Steady growth is better than fast growth. So that's what we're doing.
See, and it's all about educating. Shout out to Darlene and Music Fam Entertainment out in Orlando. She said salute to you, Dev. So going back to what you're saying, for the listeners, the people that are listening and watching, see how important it is to educate yourself in anything, even outside of music. You can't be what we used to call back in the day, and you probably remember it because it was from the West Coast, game goofy. You know what I'm saying? You can't be game goofy out here. You can't be listening to what everybody is saying and telling you and not doing your own research. You can't be that guy that, I signed with American Monster Guild, and they like, hey man, I hope they paying you right over there, man. And and you like, what are you talking about? And they're like, well, what I heard is that blah blah blah. You can't go through that type of situation when it comes down to anything. You got to do your own research before you sign any piece of paper. You got to put that black and white in front of you and start reading, or get online and start reading, or take master classes like he said with Gigi Miller and so forth, or call the companies up and ask them personally, hey, is this true? You know what I'm saying? Get all that information. And then the people, because the reason I'm bringing this up, Dev, is that I get a lot of people, and I'm pretty sure you do too, they want to call you after the fact. You know what I'm saying? Be like, hey man, I heard that, is this true? And I'm like, look, bro, first and foremost, that ain't true. Second of all, you should have read before we had this. We should be having this conversation. You should have already read what was really going on first. Did your research, then signed. You know what I'm saying? So I want to bring that up, like how much you're educating yourself, you know what I'm saying, on things, because things are changing all the time. They change all the time.
It changes all the time. And I mean, I get artists who I've worked with or who follow me for the longest time, and who they share, they get on there, and they'll like, one guy's like, hey, I'm about to sign this contract. Hey, can you take a look at it? Put the contract in the inbox. I'm going through it. And he came at me respectfully. I mean, and then me, I didn't charge him for it. And they're going to give him a 50-50 split. They're going to give him this. They're going to give him that. So, I mean, you got to give him a credit. At least he had the foresight to get somebody's opinion before he's like, I want to know if this looks right, or this and this. Should they be taking this or what marketing? So I just, we were just a question to answer back and forth too. So artists are getting better at it, but there are also still some artists that are stuck in this purgatory zone where they just feel like, oh, I'll just go to Facebook and ask the question and I'll get my right answer. Like you got a bunch of Facebook knowledge experts. They ain't got no degree. They ain't got nothing, but they could tell you something that they heard and pass it off like it's theirs. And so then you're ended up leading the blind, or you're going down this path and everything else. Like I always tell people, I give you my resume.
Yeah.
I give you where I took the classes from. I give you who I went with. I give you the school. I'll give you my mentor. I'll give you names. I'll give you all that type of stuff. But that doesn't mean your execution is going to be just like mine.
Yeah. Yep.
It doesn't matter. Like, but a lot of people don't want to go through the work that I went through. So they don't want to
Mm-hmm.
do what I've done. They don't want to go fetch nobody's coffee. They
Well,
don't want
see,
to
and
go
that's
get nobody's donuts. They don't want to go do none of this crazy stuff that I had to do being an intern. They don't want
mm-hmm.
to do none of that because that's beneath them or their pride, whatever the case may be. But
Mm-hmm.
now I kind of can call up people in different states and get things done without having to do a bunch of red tape.
See, and the same people that don't want to do things, they stay where they at. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They the ones that don't excel. You know, at the end of the day, they just stay where they at. They stay making those little local things going on, and there's nothing against it, but man, you get to a point. You know, and what you think about this? Like, you get to a point in your career, man, especially if you've been doing it for a long time. If you ain't moving, it's like jogging in place. You know what I'm saying? It's like you got to be moving around. You got to be going the distance. If you're not going the distance, then you're jogging in place, meaning that
Yeah.
you're not going anywhere. You know, I wanted to get on the thing about, so last year, before the end of the year, you had an artist that was, I mean, doing his thing.
Yeah.
Pace Brown. Tell us about Pace and tell us, like, how did it go with, and his success, and humbling him, and what do you have in the future for Pace?
Well, Pace is a very unique case because Pace does R&B with his hip hop, and
Mhm.
oh man, it's a long winded story. But Pace, we were doing our thing. We were doing our thing with the single called "Cold." Okay,
Mhm.
we're doing the thing. We're doing the thing. I said, okay. So we were going and we shot the video. The video, okay, and it was his first really underneath me, his professional type manager and first thing. So because at first we put out
Right.
Damn Daniel EP. It did well. Then we dropped Cola, which
Mhm.
was we just dropped that one because I've been testing that song and it was a hot single. People just love the single. So
Right.
tested it. He's just hot. It's hot. It's hot. And then in the last year, he got sick. And so I shut it down, came back this year, and I wanted to pick back up where I left off on Cola, but I really felt like, well, Cola is Cola. It's always gonna be accessible to people. Like
Right.
it's out there. It's gonna be accessible. Let me just leave that where it's at. Like let me
Mhm.
just leave it where it's at. Hey, and it was just one of those things where he has like 500 tracks.
Wow.
Yeah, 500. So what am I doing? Just working on this one track. Just one
Yeah.
track. I said, okay. So I went into the tank and I gave some tracks to some DJs. Like, what do you think? The new song that came out was they liked. It was two songs. It was called
Mhm.
My Favorite and Busted Down. And
I
then the
remember
DJs
busting
like, yeah,
down. Yeah.
they were like, no, Busted Down's the one. That's the one. And he was a fleet DJ.
Mhm.
And shout out to Jay Spin. So he said,
Mhm.
that's the one. So I really did some research. It's like, hey, Audio Mac is a place where you can go because these are real fans. Like Spotify, it can be faked. iTunes, it can be faked and all that type of stuff. He said, look, Audio Mac is untouchable right now. Like you
Right.
can't buy streams like you can. Like they really are
Like
organic.
everywhere else. Yeah.
Yeah, he said, so yeah, you should do that. So the last 3 or 4 months, I've been just paying this advertising marketing budget on Audio Mac. And then before I haven't dropped anything else. And this is kind of cool. I looked on it the other day. He's at 7,000 streams in about a little over 2 months
Dang.
with just this one song. And so to me, I said, I'm not going to drop it officially on no other platforms until I hit 10K.
See, personal
Because,
goals. Personal
yeah,
goals.
because Jay Spence, he's telling me, he was like, hey, look, man, I got artists I've been working with for years, and they don't work the track on nowhere else on Spotify and everything else until they hit a certain mark, because then the fans are gonna go wherever that song is.
Yeah.
So I said, you know what, 10,000 is a good number. So we're approaching it faster than I think. I think by the end of May we'll be at that number. We'll be at 10, and that's about 2 months. First month it hit 5,000. Then a little halfway in the middle of May was like 7,000. You know, it's creeping
Mm-hmm.
up to 8. You know, 7 to 8,000. So really, Pace is just really while he's doing that, he's just really getting his marketing and getting his budget up and everything
Mm-hmm.
else. He's enjoying the success of it, of having a single that's
Yeah.
on one platform, so you're able to focus on that. And his followers are going up and stuff like that. And these people want to know where they can connect with the artist too. So really, we
Mm-hmm.
had some blogs and everything else that we've been doing on them and stuff like that. I'm about to do another round with Bust It
Mm-hmm.
Down as a focal point. So really, it's just, and he's been writing treatments for all his videos that we're gonna do. So it's been really like a good process. Even
Yeah.
though he was like, "Where is Pace? Like, where is Pace? Like, did he fell off?" No, he didn't fall off. It's
Right.
just that when you have some immediate success, you got to know when to fall back a couple points and then
Yeah.
work on the finer arts. And now we're working that one track. We have a whole album done already. It's a whole EP.
Mm-hmm.
It's called "Damn It, Dan." It's a sequel
See?
to Damn Daniel. Like I already have it done. I just been sitting on it, and through some advice and some people that's like, don't rush that. Don't rush that out. What's the
Mm-hmm.
point? Don't rush it out. We're in the middle of a pandemic. Who cares? Like, don't rush it out. Work that one track. Work that one track. Then if you drop it again, because of course Audio Mac pays you.
Mm-hmm.
It can be charted, stuff like that. Like I'm just trying to decide when out now is I'm in a good position because now when do I drop the Bust It Down officially to the world?
Right.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm really just trying to get it going so where I want it to be too. So really it's Pace. I never had really had to humble Pace. I
Mm-hmm.
never really had to humble him. He's just always been about the work.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
he's always been about the work. So we felt like there's no 2021. It was a good year because of COVID and all that type of stuff for us because we got to focus on the things that matter.
Yeah.
Paperwork. I got to get him in front of some music supervisors with the music and stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
now so I've got a couple tracks that have gone into it. They've been right at the cutting edge. And
Yeah.
they said,
Yeah.
hey, you know what? We want to see a little bit higher production. So now
Mm-hmm.
I'm over here shopping for a higher production team to produce
Mm-hmm.
Peso. I mean, it's been a great year. He's doing good and everything else, and so it's been good. But then it gave me a time to develop new artists to come on board and to kind of follow in that same template that has worked for
Yeah.
us. And yeah, so it's been good.
So that cola, like at this point right now, how many streams does it have? Because I know a while back it had a whole bunch of them. What was the count like right now? Or by the end of 2020, what was the count? I know it's high. I know it was
It
high.
was like one. It was like 130,
See,
130,000, and
yeah.
now it's like at 170.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't put no marketing money into that song, and I just wanted to see how many streams I could do organically,
Yeah.
um, without in essence, forcing it down the fan base's throat. So I just
Right.
we gained 30 or 40,000 organically, and
Mm-hmm.
so I just really felt like at any point I decided that I could just go, I could redrop it if I wanted
Yeah.
to. I could
Re-release.
put some
Yep. All
remarketing
about
money.
that.
I could do a bunch of different things with this song. If I wanted to
Mm-hmm.
stretch that beat out, I could stretch the beat out, and I could go and put another feature on it.
Mm-hmm.
I've been talking to some people, some majors and stuff like that about doing a feature.
Mm-hmm.
What is it going to cost to get some a feature? I want to see who's hot at the moment. Like I want to
Yeah.
see people who I was targeting it, like was targeting Dave East, but then
Mm.
he just went a whole different direction, and now he's got a joint tape that he did with this I think Mills, and I'm like, it's not going to fit. Like
Yeah.
it's not going to fit right now. So I'm kind of talking and kind of looking at what I want to do to put a feature on it. So really, Cola is always going to be that one hit. Like if you look at it, like Yellow Beezy, he had that hit, and
Yeah.
he had hit for years. He had
Mhm.
that hit for years before he got popped, and he just kept redropping it, sending it to DJs and stuff like that too. So I mean, it's just one of those things that I feel like that's going to be the song that kind of catches at some point.
Yeah.
I don't really have. I worked it for a whole almost 2 years, if you be
Hmm.
honest.
And see,
So
that's another thing that artists don't know. That you brought up as a very good point is that I did the same thing what you've been saying. Like shout out to Rekka. I put it out during the pandemic last year,
yeah,
and then it did okay. You know what I'm saying? But then I took it off all platforms, and then I re-released it when things kind of let up. And now it's
yeah,
out again, and now we promoting it again. And like you said, I might mess around and hit a certain goal and take it off again and wait till things really open back up.
yeah,
Because the more advantages you have as an artist, like performing and stuff like that, the better your song's gonna do.
yeah,
But so like during the pandemic, there were no clubs open and nobody was really performing and stuff like that.
yeah,
A lot of artists struggle, so it's just
yeah,
I get that, like putting a song out, working it for a long time, not worrying about other songs and so forth. And I try to tell artists this all the time, and that's why I'm speaking on this, is that stop putting out 1,000 songs. Because just what you just said earlier about the attention span and how many times somebody it has to be in front of somebody for it to actually
mhm,
stick. Think about when somebody's putting out 1,000 different songs. You know what I'm saying? They're not giving the audience an opportunity to like the one hit. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? You're allowing yourself to let you're basically losing audience like that. Because let's
mhm,
say you didn't work Cola that way, and then y'all went on to like 3 more songs, and then when somebody finally heard Cola like on Audio Max somewhere else, and they was like, man, they really should have worked this song versus working 4 other ones. You know what I'm saying? Because the
yeah,
4 other ones don't do as successful. So I just, yeah, I'm a firm believer about what you said is just working it and working it. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. I
So
mean, Cola's on Audio Mac too. It's on Audio Mac too. And so it's got added on playlists on Audio Mac. Singers Bust It Down, and
hmm
and like I said, I feel like the budget that that I'm using and I'm spending on Audio Mac has been turning into some good numbers and some good feedback. You know
yeah,
what I mean? Like I can see how many playlists people are adding to it, and these are not playlists. These are playlists that are a user. It's not a
mm,
curator. It's a
right.
person like you or me who just
hmm
chose to use Audio Mac from our listening, our music consumption. And
hmm
I'm just going and I'm picking songs that I want to add onto my own personal playlist that I can use at the gym.
Ah, okay,
That's
I
it.
see.
So
Yeah,
this is the most organic that you're gonna get.
yeah,
And it's one of those things. It's not like anything like Spotify, where Spotify curators are having you pay for certain things, and after 30 days they take your song off, and they because
right.
they got to make room for everything else. This is just like, hey, these are user consumption. It's fan based too,
Which
so
is better. Which is better. You know what
a
I'm
lot
saying?
better, and it takes longer for it to reach a certain different thing. So, like I said, I'm blessed with like people like Jay Spence and stuff like that. Like he basically gave me talk, and he's like, "Hey, look, this is what you should do," because he works with artists. Like he's works with artists.
Okay.
He's always got artists on his shows, his radio show. He's syndicated on his radio show. He always
hmm
got major artists coming through. So he tells me what works with them
Yeah, yeah, that's
or
good
it works
advice.
with them. So I'm like, if it works for them, and that's what he's been doing. He's been working with these guys for 2 and 3 years, trying to break this track, trying to break this track. They're just
hmm
now starting to get deals and different things. And he said, I've worked the track. I said, where'd you work it at? He tells me exactly what he did and how he worked it, what he
hmm
did with the artist. So then I go and take that template and I talk to my artist saying, hey, look, this is what this is what this is what we need to do because you fit this type of mold. And so I'm able to
Yeah.
have real conversations with artists and real conversation with folks.
hmm
I mean, some of it mostly, honestly, it's outside of my city.
Yeah.
Um, a
Which is
lot of artists,
good. Yeah, which
yeah,
is
they
good.
don't artists in my city. This and that. Oh, somebody said, or maybe because somebody else said they didn't like me, or whatever. And I used to get mad about that type of
Yeah.
stuff. But once you mature, I don't care no more.
Nah.
It's whatever. If you want to believe the next person and y'all want to do the whole smoking sessions, pillow talk, whatever you want to do, and talk about
hmm
who's not doing whatever, why the people who don't care about none of that
Yeah.
want to go after their dreams and want to, use me in order to do it, because it is a using. I'm in the service industry.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
okay with that.
Absolutely.
Like, yeah, I'm okay with that. Like, we're in the service industry as managers, as a platform
Mm-hmm.
providers and stuff like that. We're in the service industry, so I'm kind of big on that one, and helping other managers and other label owners. Hey, look,
Mm-hmm.
change their mindset. Like, you're supposed to be accessible. Like, you are customer service.
Yeah.
I
The
don't
customer's always right. Right.
I don't go I don't go and bash artists on my social media no more. I just try to educate them. I think
Nope.
that's why
Yep.
I'm able to talk to them and we can have real conversations, because I don't go and talk about artists doing this and this and this. I just try to
Mm-hmm.
educate them. I don't bash them, because, man, maybe they don't know.
They don't. They don't.
Maybe they
And it's
don't know, and so
mm-hmm.
it's just my
Well,
job to
see,
teach.
and here's the crazy thing is like when you try to educate people in general, and they haven't met somebody like you. So
Yeah,
they think that everybody's trying to take things from them, and then all of a
yeah,
sudden you giving them some knowledge, they don't know how to respond to that. You know what I'm saying? Most of the time. So I'm just like you, like, yeah, man, you can go and ask so and so all you want, but what you don't do, somebody else will. You know
yeah.
what I'm saying?
That's true. I had a post like that like last week to say that people not everybody is out to hurt you.
Right, right.
Like, you, just because you got taken advantage of and this and this and this, not everybody is out to hurt you. Like, you know
Hmm.
what I mean? You're coming to me, you're telling me what the last manager did or the last person. I don't care.
Yeah,
You need to
absolutely.
heal. You need to heal, emotionally heal, deal with that. How you need to deal with it. But coming to
Right.
me telling what the last person did, it really has no bearing on what I'm going to do. You ask me for a proposal, I give you your proposal. Then you go and tell me
Mhm.
what the last person did. There's some things you need to work out within yourself, and
Yeah.
that's a professional thing. That's where there's personal relationships, whatever it is. So,
Mhm.
like I said, a lot of artists have been taken advantage of.
Yeah,
I don't,
absolutely.
I
Oh,
don't,
yeah, all day.
yeah, I don't come for that. I tell people to, hey, look, do your research. Do your
Mhm.
research. If you want some references, I can give you references, and you can go talk to them, and they'll tell you what it's like to work with me, and then we'll take it from there.
Well,
So,
I tell you, just to speak on that, when I first met you and, we were chopping it up and I was working with an artist trying to get him hooked up, with you, I was like, hey, man, if all this work out, I'm going to make sure I break you off. And you was like, nah, you know what I'm saying? Don't even worry about that. And I'm like, what? So like, hold on. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm so used to everybody got with their hand out. Like in life in general, people got their hand out all the time, but you was legit. You was like, nah, man, you know what? Don't even worry about it. It is what it is. If it happened, it happened, blah, blah, blah. And I respected that, because you just don't get that a lot. So I paid it forward with that because artists, that I talk to now, a lot of times I'll give them some game. You know what I'm saying? Even though I do the consultation thing, I'll still give artists game for free. You know what I'm saying? Whereas back in the day, I ain't gonna lie. I'm like, nah, man, you're gonna have to pay, blah, blah, blah. I still give away a lot of free game because of people like you, where you was just like, nah, man, you don't worry about paying me right now, man, or just don't even worry about it. So I appreciate that because that's one of them things like you can't. I mean, you can an old dog can still learn new tricks. You know what I'm saying? I would say I'm an old dog. So that's why I'm like, hey, it works. You know what I'm saying? You still out here grinding, as you were last year, whereas some people that I ran into last year aren't. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
They didn't close up shop.
Well, yeah. I mean, I just feel like, look, it's better, in my opinion. It's better to. Why would I collect money for a one-time thing where I can I can basically network, right? I
Yeah.
can network, and then now I have a connect and a business partner
Hmm.
for a long time, right? So
Hmm.
I don't believe I don't want that short term money. I don't want that
Right.
short term money. I want that money that, like, you know what I mean? Like me and you, like off the book, you talking about other business things and everything else. Now imagine if
Hmm.
I would have just taken that little short little money, we wouldn't have been
Hmm.
able to have these open type of conversations about, different things and stuff like that too. So I don't
Right.
know. I look at it from an aspect of, and I put my hand out. I'm always available to help other business managers and labels and
Mm-hmm.
everything else, but nobody wants to reach out. So
Yeah.
I don't really sit here, and I'm not going to beg you to do things the
Right.
right way. You're doing your artists a big disservice because I
Mm-hmm.
can see their infrastructure. I
Yeah.
can know who does it right. I can tell who does what. And then the artist basically, oh, I was with this other label, and I said, well, who owns your publishing? Oh, they own my
Mm-hmm.
publishing. Did you ever see any reports? Like, can you see your reports? Oh no. I just kind of know what's what and everything
Yeah.
else. And
Yep.
so I just look at it like, hey, look, I'm here if you need me. And that's how I
Mm-hmm.
leave it alone. I basically tell people I'm here if you need me, and it never fails. One
Mm-hmm.
month I just won't have nothing, and then all of a sudden I'll have 15 people want
Yep.
meetings in a week. It
Yep.
just never failed. And they'll be like, oh, I apologize, I should have hit you up before. It happens. It happens. So
Yeah.
I don't worry about money. Money is not what I'm in it for. Like I
Mm-hmm.
don't care about it. It's not what I'm in it for. I'm in it for the relationships and building their relationships and helping
Mm-hmm.
those who want to be helped.
Yeah, and we appreciate that, man. Like I said, for those who have worked with you, they appreciate, I guarantee, because it's some good game. You got some good knowledge. You stay up on top of things, and that's what it's all about. We getting ready to wrap up the show. We want to thank you for giving us this opportunity to interview you, taking
Oh
time
no.
out of your day and stuff like that, man. We really appreciate it.
Oh
Um,
no, I appreciate it. It's like I said, it's been good. Um, I mean, like I said, I just love. I could talk about the music all day long.
mhm.
So it's just a passion of mine. So I'm able. I'm happy that I'm able to kind of get on your platform and kind
Mhm.
of tell a little bit of my story and everybody who doesn't know and everything else, and they can see a different side of it of
Yeah.
of of the music game,
So
rather than
so
the shark.
so where can people find you at on social media?
Wow. Well, it's a lot actually. With everything that I own, it's a lot. Um, well, American Monster Gill is www.americanmonstergill.com. That's the website. They can
Mhm.
find me on all most social platforms. American Monster Gill is on Instagram. American
Mhm.
Monster Gill is on Facebook. And then, of course, Executive Order, that brand. Executive order distribution is,
Mhm.
www.executiveorderdistribution.com. Go in there and check out the distribution and everything else. It's a contact tab. They want to set up a consultation, free consultation with me, just to kind of go over some stuff. That's on Facebook.
Okay.
Instagram, I have that page too. Haven't set up a Twitter for the distribution yet.
Mhm.
Jet Order Publishing is on Facebook. Executive Order Publishing is on Facebook. Right
Okay.
now, I haven't launched any other social medias because I'm just trying to build it up off of that one. And really, kind of hub for me is websites,
Mhm.
or on Facebook, people can kind of get with me. Or, I mean, you can just type Devin Brabham and pretty much, and you'll there's only one of me.
Right,
There's
right,
big
right.
pages, so and I can kind of direct you to whatever that they need to go to too. So, whichever brand or what they're looking for. Like I
Mhm.
got a bunch of stuff too. So,
Cool, man. Well, like I said, bro, I really appreciate it. Like for the viewers that's tuned in, check him out, man. He got a lot of stuff going on. He works with a lot of people. He has a lot of know-how. Check out all his social media platforms. Check out any new projects that's coming out. If you need distribution, check Executive Order Distribution out. Once again, we want to give a shout out to Devin Brabham. And for the next guest that DMs me, I'm gonna give you the book, autographed and signed, and I'm gonna give you all three of the collector items, and I'm gonna send them to you. Street music, bag money, Streetology 101. We want to thank America's Monster Guild. We want to thank Executive Order and Jet Order CEO Devin Brabham for coming in and giving us some game. And for next time, we will see you again. We are out.
I appreciate
Peace.
it.
Yeah.